Hey, what is up everyone? Today I'm taking a look at this right here, the high-grade Leo S or Rails from Gundam WIng G-Unit. Now, it might be a little bit hard to tell from the box right here that this is not a full release. This is a premium Bandai only kit. So, as usual, when it comes to premium Bandai kits on this channel, this review would not have been possible whatsoever without those absolutely fantastic people over at BUYEE. So if you are looking to get some P-Bandai of your own, there's a link down there in the description, and I recommend buying from the one shop if you're buying a bunch of kits. It will save some cash when it comes to the shipping. Now anyway, let's get this thing reviewed. So I'm just gonna start off this review right here mentioning that I've never read the Gundam WIng side story manga G-Unit, but what I will say is I absolutely love SD Gundam G Generation Cross Rays. So if you've never played that game, it's a tactical-based Gundam game where 4 different universes come together, one of which is the Gundam WIng universe, and you can play out the entire story of this particular manga. That I've done, and I absolutely adored it, and completely fell in love with the designs. Now, I played this game after I reviewed both the versions of the high-grade Geminis, but before I actually built this right here, which is the high-grade After Colony Leos. So just in case someone mentions it at some point during this, they're like, is it not Leo S? Not, you're saying Leos? Well, in Japanese it says Rails, so I'm just gonna go with Leos. It's gonna be Leos from here on out. But once again, just in case you have not read the manga, nor played the game, I'll just mention a couple of things to get you on track with what is going on right here. So we've got 2 factions, MOV and Oz Prize. Oz Prize is basically like a splinter faction of Oz, and they've got some absolutely over-the-top mobile suits. This right here is one of them. We also have 2 other Leo-based mobile suits, or Leo-based mobile suits, depending on what you like to say, and that is what I'm going to assume is called the Rayon, because it says Leo N. Yep, I went and double-checked it there. It is the Rayon, which is a big, bulky, powerful-looking version of a Leo. And then we've got the Leo R, or the Leoru, which is a feminine variant of the Leo. I hope we get both of these suits in future because P-Bandai seems like they want to expand this line. I hope that they do. This kit has blown my mind. I thought this would be a color-swapped Leo. It is not. This might just be the foundation for a new high-grade Tallgeese, because it's got a joint that is not used at all, which is one of the Tallgeese's joints up in the shoulder. It's got the butt flap and a whole bunch of other things. And there is another particular Gundam coming out from this line very soon that I'm so excited about, and that is the absolutely awesome Gundam Asclepius. At least that's how I think it's pronounced. That's one hell of a name, and it is one hell of a mobile suit. Now, once they announce the Gundam Hydra, I'm going to be super happy. And I'd also happily take a high-grade Gundam Greep as well as this Mercurius that looks kinda like Sazabi. Anyway, let's get right on into the review. So jumping right into absolutely everything that comes inside of the box, and as well as the Leos itself, we've also got the diffuser cloak, the pair of beam dual sabers, as well as a set of handles for displaying them on the side skirts when they are not in use. Next up in here, we've got a beam musket. This also includes a right holding hand for holding onto it, so only a right hand. And finally then we do have a sheet of stickers, which I only used one of and we'll talk about a little bit later. And by a little bit later, I mean very soon, because we're heading right on in to the aesthetics. So jumping now into the aesthetics, and there's 2 things I have to mention right off the bat with this particular kit. First one, that is totally a Sazabi inspired head right there. That looks unbelievably cool. The second aspect is this is no Leo boy. No Leo. This, I thought, was a red recoloring of the Leo mobile suit, the high grade that we got a few months ago. Was it a year, 2 years? I don't know anymore. But I thought it was a red recolor of that, and in a way it is, but mostly it isn't. So let's talk about the build a little bit, so I can explain that a little bit more. And also I have to stop myself before I do that because this is a fierce bad habit I have. Putting aspects on upside down in the weirdest way possible, especially on the legs. Anyway, that's rectified, so if you've been screaming at me since the intro about that, I apologize. So first off, inside this box you get a whole lot more plastic than you would with a standard Leo. As far as I can see, but I haven't fully checked yet, you could probably build a full red Leo out of this kit, but as we just saw, this is a damn sight bigger than your standard high-grade Leo. I will mention there is a whole lot of leftover plastic in here, which is great if you like scratch building and making stuff out of bits. And I mean a whole lot of stuff. As you can see from the runners, the vast majority of the high-grade Leo has been discarded. We've all of its chest, waist, a lot of its skirting, its lower legs, the shield, the head, a lot of which is not used in this. When we look at Runner B, then we've got a whole bunch of parts like the shoulder segments and the feet. A lot of the Leo is not used. Another interesting aspect is Runner C1 in here is duplicated for some of the parts, but also means we do get quite a few leftover bits which might get you interested, including this butt flap, which has a very Tallgeese vibe about it, doesn't it? Moving on to something that I do somewhat believe, that this kit right here might be a basis for an upcoming high-grade Tallgeese. This has a lot more articulation inside of its torso. This isn't just ball joints like we've got with the Leo, which had a lot of fine build system aspects, which in the end makes it a bit of a rickety, loose kit. Awesome one, cheap one, but can be a little bit flimsy. This thing is rock solid and has some very interesting aspects to its build. The head is incredible, there is so much to it, but I do recommend gluing the mouth section or the muzzle. This fell off on me a few times, so glue that. The other aspect is the way the shoulders are designed. This is so cool. They all come on the runner together in this big semi-circular part. You then start building the shoulders as you would normally, attach it all together just like this, and then you nip off each one so you don't have to build them all on individually. That is a very interesting build mechanic and makes this simple and quick. And a final very interesting aspect is the upper legs from this are from the Tallgeese, but it has abandoned the polycap joints we had in there for the Tallgeese by having these, what I can only describe as conversion parts to turn that ball joint that was in the thigh into an actual proper upper leg joint. This is no red Leo. This right here is an absolutely completely different unit. Once again, potentially like a red Tallgeese. So now that we're done talking about the build, onto the full 360 spin of the high-grade Leos. Now this is a phenomenal looking mobile suit, and I honestly didn't expect that much from it. I'm shocked. Like, I build one or two gunpla every now and then, so at this point I kind of have a general idea of what to expect from Bandai, but P Bandai has been throwing some curveballs lately. This is much taller than I expected it to be, has a Tallgeese's butt, and the build is phenomenal. Even the parts in the chest, those golden segments, those are color separated. Now, of course, you may know by now I'm not a big fan of gloss metallic injection gold. If I actually had the time, I would have painted them up a proper gold, but still in here it's not so bad. The combination of colors is a little bit, well, let's just say it makes me want a Big Mac and fries. The head is 100% based off of Sazabi, which is so cool, and this thing just is insane. It brings a lot more than the Leo does, and it's not that expensive, or at least it wasn't when it came out first. It was 1,980 yen, may not be anymore. But yeah, there are a couple of stickers in here, which means it is not fully color accurate, so let's talk about that a little bit. So about those stickers, there isn't really a whole lot in here, and besides the ones that we have here, from what I can see, this is very color accurate. I'll also mention that I have done nothing with this kit whatsoever, so there's no pan lining, no top coat, no nothing. This is how it looks out of the box, and again, I am blown away. Blown away. Anyway, stickers. So the first couple of stickers we have there are all for some lenses. As you can see, I've used two, not one like I said earlier on, and I did not use that middle one right there. The reason for that is it would really hide that beautiful green inside. Why would you do that? This is such a Samus kind of vibe. This is cool. The little skinny sticker up top there, that is, well, one of these stickers of course, and underneath that is just gray. And if we pop the top of the head off, you can see the sticker that I did use under there that is shining through the absolutely beautiful green part that we have in here, and that's a Tallgeese looking bit of head right there. I mean, why oh why would you ever consider covering up the beautiful glowing green part? I have no idea. So the next sticker we have in here is that pink one, that square. That is for using on that giant Tallgeese looking handle section there, just in its mid-torso. And that right there is what it should look like. Lastly, then we've got some of this iconography right here, and this is not for using on the actual mobile suit itself, that is for using on the musket. This handle is meant to have that kind of black in there, and that raised section is meant to be the gold, but sadly it is not color accurate, doesn't look that bad, but there is a sticker in here. The only other thing that doesn't seem to be color accurate is the handles like this, what you're seeing right here, that should be in gray, but it is in gold, but that'll be held so you probably won't see it. most of the time. So anyway, what can I say? I am absolutely blown away by this. This is not what I was expecting whatsoever. Premium Bandai's doing some crazy stuff lately. The different lines that it's taken on board and doing itself, like the G-Unit line, Advance of Zeta, Gundam F90, all of those, they've been doing some crazy kits. Anyway, on to the accessories. So jumping back to the overview of everything that comes in the box, so let's take a look at all of those accessories one by one, starting with that badass cape. So first up in here we have the diffuser cloak, and according to the instructions here, this is a defensive armament that reduces damage from beam weapons. The cloak is coated with beam diffusing materials that disperse heat-charged energy on contact. However, it is vulnerable to attacks that focus on a single point, such as high-powered beams and thrusts from beam melee weapons. So there you have it, it's got a big old cloak that blocks beam attacks. That is pretty cool. How it doesn't get caught in all of the joints, I'm not going to ask. Also, I'm absolutely convinced that this right here is a Tallgeese looking joint. Look at that, look at that. This little segment down here for one of the weapons, and this little doodad up top for one of the other weapons. One for the shield, one for the doper gun. Potentially? Next up in here we've got two of these. These are the beam jewel sabers. So as it suggests, this is a kind of saber, and that is one hell of a vigorous effect part right there. That is badass and catches the light so good. Like I did mention earlier on though, the handle should be in gray, so if you want that color accurate, you're going to have to hit that with a bit of paint. So we'll mention the hands in here, the exact same ones used by the high-grade Leo. The only thing that is different is we have a new back for on them, which makes them gray like this. So that does mean this, well, should be compatible with Leo weapons. So I've got one right here. I just whip it out and stick it in like so, and lose the magazine drum. Try and get that reattached in. There we go, yeah. So it does and can be used with the Leo weapons. I'll also mention that this has the exact same upper leg, so it has that hard point that is hidden away in there. That does mean it will be able to use Leo weapons, and as we saw when we were plugging out the back segment for the cape, it has the exact same back plug. So this will be compatible with pretty much all of the Leo accessories that are out there, so potential awesome customs right here. Attaching these sabers is the usual sandwich hand routine. You split the hands in half like this, now this is your bread. The saber itself is the ham, and you do what you do with a sandwich, put the ham between the two bits of bread, and there you go. Attach it in, ball joint attachment. And once again I will mention, that is an awesome beam saber. So anyway, there's a quick spin of it with those sabers attached. Once again, these look so cool, catch the light perfectly, and have two vigorous beam effects. Again, I think I'm absolutely in love with this mobile suit right here, and this high-grade kit. So when these are not in use, just pop them off like so, and you do not actually use the beam saber handles right here. For the storage, we've got some included. So we move down to the side skirting armor like this, and it just clips on with pressure, which is pretty cool. What isn't pretty cool is the fact that this once again is not fully color accurate, and just like it shows in the manual right here, the handle segment should be in gray, but not the biggest deal, but paint it if you want that accuracy. So next up in here we've got the beam musket. So just like we saw with the sabers, this is an old-timey feel. Apparently it is based on a musket according to the instructions. It looks like it is. And apparently it is just a modified version of the regular Leo beam rifle, and it fires in single shots instead of bursts. Like we saw before, the handle right here is not color accurate. It does need a sticker or some black paint. Next up, this attaches into a sandwich style hand once again, but we do have an included right hand especially for holding this. So unlike the Leos, which we would have seen before, which hold all their weapons in just a big ham fist, this does have an extended index finger, which looks quite slick. Once again, this attaches into the wrist using a ball joint, and just like with the beam sabers, this is quite cool. It is a little bit of a shame about the non-black handle, but besides that, this is awesome. So now moving on to the articulation, and we'll start with the cloak so I can get it out of the way so we can check everything else. So on closer inspect, yeah, the top of the head knocks off quite easy. The rest of it is completely rock solid, but the top of the head and the muzzle mouth part, they can cause a little bit of issues. But as I was saying, the joint in here, which I said looked a little bit like it could be for the Tallgeese, on closer inspection, the whole point of that there is when you raise this up to stop it from going any further than it needs to. So that is the whole purpose of that. These usually move with the arms like so, but they do have down and up of their own, as well as forward and back rotation ever so slightly, but we're going to be popping these off for now. The rear segment back here is just a simple hinge, so it can swing all the way up like so, and actually locks in there quite well. There goes the top of the head again, and we've got that typical Leo back hole. So I'm going to focus mainly on a lot of the aspects that make this not like your standard Leo. The first off is this has a functioning neck, so it can look side to side just like so. It does have a little bit of a pivot in there too to angle that Sazabi style head. Sometimes the top of the head likes to rattle instead, but you can get a decent bit of dynamicness out of that. Unlike the Leo, the shoulder joints inside the torso are orientated to move up and down. With the actual Leo, it is just forward and back. We've got the full spin there based on this ball joint there, so that can go whoa, whoa, whoa like that. And we do have a joint inside the shoulder allowing it to raise up like this and there. So that's as high as it's going to get. Let's see if we can get a little bit more. That is all you're going to get all the way up. To get any higher, you're going to have to flip it. The rest of the arm right here is identical to the Leo with full spin here. That simple fine build system joint right here, which allows you to get quite a bit of a bend. And then the exact same hand as the Leo as well with a ball joint. Inside the torso right here, we've got a completely different build to the Leo. So that means we do have a forward and back crunch from there to there. A side to side tilt. There goes the head again. I'm leaving that off. The side to side tilt, which is fantastic. And we've rotation from there to there. This really does look great in poses, and I've been loving this joint. The front skirting here is the same as the Leo. That's a ball joint that can move mainly upwards like so. The side skirtings right here don't really do a whole lot. They can kind of move forward and back ever so slightly and rotate. But I'm going to pop this off because underneath what is going on here, this is an interesting joint. This swivels, or should I say swings forward like so to give us a 3mm peg that this kit does not use. And this is brand new for this kit, so I'm smelling a Leon and a Leoru in future, hopefully. So the undeniably Tallgeese booty back here, this doesn't move at all, it is paralyzed. We've got quite an advanced joint in here for the hips. This actually does have a bit of a swing down mechanism, and this is quite smart because it moves in the opposite direction to the legs, so I find that makes it so when you actually bend up the legs, it doesn't actually go back up in. That's a nice design right there. Again, the standard Leo most certainly did not have that. So as for the kicks, there it is all the way up to the front, so about parallel to the ground. There it is out to the back, quite blocked. And the splits would probably be better if it wasn't for those side skirts. But otherwise, it is the full splits. We've got a little bit of rotation up here with a joint which was not in the Leo, but the knee joint, this was in the Leo. This is the fine build system joint, and this is most definitely the loosest aspect on this kit. This is its Achilles knee. That could be a bit tighter, and that is left over from the Leo. The ankle is also left over from the Leo and could be a little bit tighter too. And that's what we get there, side to side, a little bit of this and that. Get that on the ground and test out that functional movement. So there it is all the way to the front, all the way to the back, so not a whole lot. And there it is side to side. Good job, this is a space use mobile suit, because it's not going to be doing a whole lot on the ground. So yeah, when it comes to the articulation, it is quite basic, but with some nice joints. But when you consider this was based on a Leo, and how far it's kind of been technologically removed from the Leo, this is extremely impressive. If you're expecting Leo, this is super impressive. If you're expecting a modern, high-grade level of articulation, I guess it's a little bit disappointing. So anyway, that right there is it for the review, and this one's hard to rank for me because of the main reason I was expecting something else and I got a completely different kit. I expected a red Leo with a cape. That was it. That's all I expected coming into this. But what I got was a sort of half Tallgeese. It's got some cool articulation where the Leo did not. It's way more solid than the Leo. The only thing I ever have problems with is that head, and I guess it's the giant fin on top that tends to leverage everything off. Out of box straight built, this looks fantastic, and what Premium Bandai is pumping out lately is awesome. In a way, a lot of aspects about this kit are just sheer normal, like the articulation is about as bog standard as you can get, if not a little bit disappointing. But the quality of this kit is mind-blowing. The cape looks great, the accessories are awesome, we've got some cool beam effects, and on the whole, I truly do love this kit. So yeah, if I'm completely going to be honest with myself about how I feel about this kit, this is a gold tier kit. It would be towards the bottom end of gold tier, just made it there by a hair, but it's definitely a phenomenal kit and I highly recommend trying one out. If you love Gundam WIng, if you love G-Unit, If you love the Leo, then this is an absolute treat. This is a Leo Elite, and it feels like it. Anyway, as always, there's a link down there in the description if you want to try and get one of your own over at BUYEE. As always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to come back for more Gunpla reviews, and I will be seeing you next time. As always, all my thanks to each and every one of you guys for making this channel possible, including those who support me over on the channel memberships and on Patreon, including Craig Jerry, Caleb Engelhart, Sean T. Van Fon, Global Frequency Studios, Lawrence C. Hack, Joseph Kukluk, Mr. Winter, and Forsetti.